Well, hello and welcome. My name's Mandy from Mandy Sorts It Out, and I'm going to go through with you today my spending for the first week of November, from the 1st to the 7th. I've challenged myself to stick to a budget of £18,000 because that's my income. I wasn't sticking to that before, but since I've started this budget with the accountability that YouTube brings, I have managed to stick to it, and I'm hoping to continue doing so. So, in the week 1st to 7th of November, I had income of £1,698.50, and I spent £34.17 on food, being £29.23 at Lidl, a further £2.89 at Lidl when I returned to get the free bakery treat and the free vegetable. I bought a block of butter for £1.99 and a loaf of wholemeal bread for 55p. I also spent £1.40 on some mayonnaise at Marks and Spencer's, and I spent £1 on an ice cream at the Co-op. I really fancied some ice cream, and I looked at my Co-op app, and they had two coupons which I thought could help. One being £1 off a shop, and the other being 50p off any Oreo product. So I went in, and sure enough, they had an Oreo ice cream. So it should have been £2.50, and I got it for £1, which I was quite pleased about. And then for my incidentals, I spent £34.98. That was, of course, on the kettle for £27.99, which I showed you in my previous video. I'm in love with that kettle, really do like using it. Then I spent £3.99 on a sewing kit, and I spent £3 on an enamel poppy for Remembrance Day. I spent £19 on toiletries and cleaning. That was £3.19 on laundry liquid, 62p on washing up liquid. That's from Lidl, actually. And I'll just say, I really liked it. It smelt just like fairy. And then I spent £2.29 on some toilet roll, £1.45 on some bin bags. And then I went to Boots. It's a bit hard to tell because there was money off on things, but it's around £7 on my favourite conditioner and £4.45 on 2 packets of indigestion tablets. I was really pleased to see that conditioner. I'll show you the video after I've gone through the figures. Really pleased to see that conditioner because it is my favourite, and I hadn't been able to find it anywhere. I originally bought it from Tesco and they don't stock it anymore. But that does mean I've now got 3 bottles of conditioner in, and I don't think I've got much shampoo left. So that's a little frustrating. I've spent £21.29 out of my gifts budget. This is all relating to food for Christmas because Christmas is going to be tomorrow. My son's coming for Christmas dinner tomorrow because he's away twice in December. I'm away once. So it just doesn't really work for us to have a Christmas dinner together unless we do it early and get it done. So we're going to have that tomorrow. And some of the snacks I bought are not for tomorrow, but they will be they are special snacks for the Christmas period, so they're coming out of that budget. I've still got another £28 in that budget. That'll leave me with enough to buy things for Christmas if I don't have enough from leftovers from tomorrow. If there's any turkey left over, I might freeze it. I've spent £723 on my housing costs. That's £695 on my rent and £28 on my broadband. My broadband came in early, but I think that's because it's a weekend. And then I spent £44.06 on travelling to Bristol. That was £36.06 on petrol to get there and back, and £8 on food. I bought myself a lunch meal deal, but I also treated the kids. I was looking after the kids for the day, and I asked them what they'd like for lunch. And they wanted a particular pasta dish, so we went and bought that while I was getting my meal deal. And I served that for them for lunch, just as a little treat. That means for the week I spent £876.50. Now for the monthlies, it's obviously very similar. I have 5 budgets that I deal with on a monthly basis. They do not roll over, whereas the rest of them are treated on an annual basis and do roll over. And that is food, incidentals, toiletries and cleaning, petrol and phone. And I allocate £221 to those budgets. I have spent £88.15 this week, and I have remaining £132.85. I've obviously spent quite a lot. Now I am going away this month, and what I normally do is allocate some of the money I would normally spend towards a holiday to help the budget go a bit further. So I thought I'd allocate £50 to the holiday, but that only leaves me with £82.85 for the remaining 2 and a bit weeks of the month. And I haven't bought any petrol. I think normally I don't spend as much on incidental or toiletries and cleaning, so I can use one of those budgets to bulk out another one if it falls short. But I've spent a lot on all three budgets this time. We'll just have to see how it goes and keep my fingers crossed. So, for my annual budget, my budget is for the year 1st of May 25 to 30th of April 26, so I'm looking at that period now as far as we've gone in it. So far, I've had income of £10,622.74. As you can see, I have spent £8,935.60, leaving £1,687.14 in the sink, or in the sinking fund if you prefer. I'm quite pleased with that. As you know, I came in slightly under budget for the first 6 months of the year's spending. This is the first week of the second 6-month period. I could have done without the sewing kit, although I would have needed to get some darning thread. I could have maybe just bought one thing of darning thread. I'm very pleased with the zips that I've got out of it. I'll show you what I'm going to make with those zips. Hold on a second. Yeah, there were 3 zips in the pack. One of them's got metal teeth and the other 2 have plastic teeth. And this is the kind of thing I make. It's got things in it, never mind. It's a crocheted bag, and I crocheted it round the zip. I made that to fit a phone. Now my phone's now slightly too big to fit in this bag, and it's great for my pedicure manicure set and bits and bobs. But as you can see, my mirror, I've got one of those mirrors that really magnifies. I think it's 11 times magnification. It doesn't quite fit in. So I was thinking if I made one again and just made one that was a little bit longer, just to fit everything in. Since I changed my phone, I've had a few uses out of this bag. It's very handy. I could do with a few more, and I've been thinking about buying zips to make more, so now I don't have to because I've got them. Although I'm slightly regretting it, I think it will be used. Yeah, it will be used. So now I have a couple of videos of the shops I did. As you know, they were quite small, the shops I've done this week. I've already showed you the big Lidl shop in my last video. Big Lidl, but here are the small little shop and the little shop and my Marks and Spencer shop, which was also fairly small. Hi, so done another return to Lidl. I took back all the mayonnaise. I was a little anxious about returning that because there's no customer desk in Lidl. But I just went to queue at a checkout and the guy was straightforward about it. Very simple and straightforward. So I got the money back for that. And then I went and chose what I wanted, given that I had a free cake. This is supposed to be a chocolate cronut. I don't know what that is. I think it's something to do with a donut and a croissant mixed. I'm not sure. But I was intrigued, so I thought I'd get that. I needed some more butter, £1.99. Some more bread, 55p. And then for my vegetable, I picked some blueberries. Of course, when I was at the checkout, the very kind and sweet lady at the checkout pointed out that blueberries are not a vegetable, they're a fruit. So I went back and I picked these peppers, a bit bigger than last time's. So that's my free vegetable. So I went through the checkout 3 times in the end. But at least I did it and I didn't let the window close on the freebies. So I've just run off to M&S and done a quick shop because my son is coming for Christmas dinner on Sunday. I know, it's November. It's not even mid-November. But you got to do what you got to do. Christmas in my family is a bit of a spread out affair. So I bought a Oakham turkey ready to roast boneless turkey breast with buttermilk, which is not good for my lactose, but I'm going to be at home. It'll be all right. And stock basted with salt and pepper sprinkle. There was a chicken roast, and I thought maybe I'll get that, but it was tiny, absolutely tiny, and it was only £1 cheaper. That was £8. This is £9, and it's a goodly portion in this one compared to the chicken one. Chicken was 1 chicken breast. It was not very generous. The salt and pepper sprinkle I could do without as well, but I only wanted a small bit of turkey because there's only going to be 2 of us. I also bought pigs in blankets. Now, I thought these were a little bit expensive at £5.50, double wrapped in bacon though. And it's in smoked bacon, which is salty, which is not good for me, and I didn't even notice that there. But it's a Christmas lunch, and I think you don't worry about things like that on Christmas Day. My son likes a roast parsnip, so I picked up some parsnips while I was there. Those were 75p. And I also picked up some mayonnaise when I was there because having returned all the mayonnaise to Lidl, I'm now running short. And that was £1.40. And near that M&S, which is in a shopping centre, is a Boots. I did my first recycling to get points. So it gave me a £5 voucher. It was really easy. There's a cardboard collecting point. I'll put a picture up. I scanned the code and said what I was putting in, then popped it in, and then I went to spend £10. This is £7, and these are £3.30, so I bought this, which is my favourite conditioner. I'm using it at the moment. I thought that it wasn't being made anymore because Tesco used to supply it and it wasn't there. And I looked online for it and couldn't find it anywhere. But it's in Boots, so that's brilliant. Got that. I got one of these, and then when I went to the checkout, that was only £9 something. There was some sort of money off thing. So I went and got another indigestion tablets. Yeah, there's a multi-save by the look of it. So one of the packets of indigestion tablets was only £1.65. Save 10%. I don't know what that's from, but that's another 50p off. So that came to £11.45. And then I got 500 points as well as 20 over 50s points. Practically paying me at this rate to have them. Very happy with that shop. Very, very thankful to Sharon at Living on a Low Income UK because she was the one that told me about recycling at Boots to get advantage points and also about the 60 plus points thing. So thanks to Sharon for those savings. I hope you've enjoyed this video and thank you for hanging around this long, and I'll see you next time. Bye.